Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I created this particular design, and also I'll be explaining a bit of my design process and how I ended up with this particular design. Alright, so while creating this design, I made use of 4 applications. I made use of number 1, the Sketchbook, a Sketchbook application. I made use of Photoshop CC, I made use of Pixellab, and finally I made use of Snapseed. So as we go along in the video, I'm going to explain what each applications were used for and how they served in the creation of this particular design. Alright, so let's get into the video. So this is the Sketchbook application, and in this application I made use of this application particularly to create the background. It was the first part of the application. It was the first application I used in creating the background, and as you can see, we have some stuff up here, but I'll be showing you the layers. So if you turn off this part, you can see the layers that took part in the background creation. So now we have this part. We have this part as well. Okay, this is not included. So we have this is not included as well. Let me delete this. Alright, so we have this part, as you can see. We have this part. We have this part as well. So basically those, and no, this is not included. So these parts below, let me delete them so it won't be confusing. So these parts, this black background with this image and this light effect, this white light, and this as well, those are the 4 parts that are included in the background creation. So after I created something like this, I then took it to the next application, which I'll be showing you in a minute or some seconds or so. So let me show you how I created this stuff that you're looking at now. So let's delete this and this as well. So normally when you come into Sketchbook, you'll be brought into a plain canvas. Let me show you how to bring you. You'll be brought into something like that, and you set up your Sketchbook. I'll make a separate video on how Sketchbook works. Do you understand? But for the sake of this video and for the sake of time, let me get straight into what we want to do. So now I delete this as well. So I brought in, when I open the canvas, when I create a video on Sketchbook, you understand how to create a canvas by yourself as well. But let's face this first. So now we have a black canvas like this. Then the next thing I did was I brought in the image I wanted to use. So now you bring in the image you want to use, and so in this, after bringing in the image, you have the opportunity to scale to whatever size you want, but I'd suggest you leave it at a smaller size first. Then you tick this check mark up here. After that, you can then resize the whole canvas to see what you are working on, so as to know how to properly place the image. So now you click on this button right here on top, the one in the middle of the one next to the brush. You see this brush, this pencil icon, the one next to it on the coming from the left hand side. When you click on it, you then see transform. So now let's place this image. Place one here on this left. After placing, you then duplicate. Then you go back to that transform button and you click on this button here to mirror it. Can you see? So after mirroring that object and you have something like this, so what's next for us is to create the light effect we had then, if you remember. So now you come to this, basically you come to your brush, and what I used to create that light effect is this brush on top, this one. Can you see? Flow airbrush. So now tap on your flow airbrush, and I assume you'll be using Sketchbook for your first time, so you need to slide to the right hand side, slide, and make some adjustments, and you can see the adjustment I have on my screen here. So you can see, so make this necessary adjustments on your own sketchbook as well. So now once you've done that, you can then increase the size, then zoom in here to pick a color. Let's pick this blue color, this bluish color. So what you're going to do now for me is come to your layer, the layers panel here, create a layer by pressing the plus icon, tap on that layer. Let's set the blending mode of that layer. This might sound strange or new to you, but follow the steps and you understand it. So let's set it to soft glow. After doing that, before you do anything on your Canva now, you come to this option here where we click transform, then click symmetry. What we want to do is whatever we are doing on the left hand side is going to be appearing on the right hand side in order to reduce our stress. Do you get? So now increase the brush size, reduce the opacity by dragging down, reduce the opacity to, let's make it 20. Now add the blue, just keep rubbing this side like this. Can you see the movement of my hand? So keep rubbing that part, keep rubbing it. Now what you're going to do at this point now is increase the opacity back to what we had before, to like around 80. Increase the opacity back. This is what you're going to do. You increase the opacity back to 80. Now rub again. Can you see? Rub the center. We need that part. So now that you're done, here's what you're going to do. You tap on that your layer, reduce it a little to like 70. Create a new layer. Still on that, create a new layer. Now change the color to white by dragging on the color, that color panel there. Drag up to change to white. Now we want to create our white color. Can you see? Can you see? Reduce the size. You can just add, you can make it in form of stroke instead of dragging around. Just stroke it round. After stroking round, here's the last part. You are then going to come to that same layer and turn on your blend effects to be glow as well. So reduce it. We want something like this. Can you see? So you can then do this one. It's not really necessary, but you can. It's something I did when I was doing it. You scroll down in your brush panel to where you have smudge. Then you pick this particular smudge brush, this smudge round bristle brush. Can you see? So now once you drag that, let me show you the particular settings I have. I have my flow to be 7, strength to be 30, size is 69, or you can use 70. And if you come to advanced panel, we'll have size with heavy pressure. You can see it already. So you make this necessary adjustment before you use it, because this will be your first time using Sketchbook. So now you can just, it's to blend whatever you've done on your Canva. So just, you can see the flow of my brush. So just drag in that manner. Can you see? So just drag. So once you are done with that, you can then cancel the symmetry and you can save. How do you save? You might have not yet turned on this option in your Sketchbook because this is your first time using it. But come to this first button on the panel up here that looks like a list. Tap on it and you see preference. It brings you to this user interface, this preference tabs and stuff like that. So you scroll down to gesture where you have pinch to gallery. And you see, you turn it on. You're going to have yours off, so you turn it on. After turning it on, go back. Then you shrink. Once you shrink in, you pinch in. It gives you the opportunity to shrink to your gallery. You have something like this. Then you come to these 3 options down here, these 3 button down here. Tap on it, and you see share/export. Tap on that, and you see export, not share. Export, then you save either as PNG, JPEG, PSD, or Sketchbook TIFF. So let's go with PNG. Let me not waste our time. I will be showing us the next process, how the background became something like this. So I'll be showing us how the background become this, as this glass effect. That's the next step before we head over to adding the informations and moving to the final process. This video is going to be a little bit long, and it's because I want to show you everything I did, how I moved from a plain canvas to a finished design. Do you understand? So if you do understand, drop a comment, let me know. And if you find this video helpful, also let me know in the comment section, and let's move on to the next process. All right, so for the next process, we're going to be making use of Adobe Photoshop Touch. So this application, I will be dropping a link to all the application I made use, a link to downloading all the application I made use in this video in the description below. So do well, if you don't have them, do well to click the link and download them. So now, as for the next process, I'm going to be showing you how I added that glass texture effect on the background. So now you click your plus icon down here and you have your photo library. So basically you have to know where you saved your picture, and for me it's saved in my download button, in my download folder. So you have to scroll. If you are somebody that does not have a lot of file, you're going to find the file very fast and quick, but I have a lot of file. So now add. When you add, it's going to bring you to something like this. So it basically works the same way. We have our canvas and a lot of options, a lot of buttons, but here we are not doing a lot of things. We just want that glass texture effect. So now what you're going to do is this. You come to this part here, the layers panel. It also has a layers panel. So now what I did during my own time was I duplicated this. So should in case I didn't get what I wanted, I was going to delete that layer off and I'll work with the present layer I have. So now this layer, we're not going to be deleting it, we're not going to be duplicating it. We'll be going ahead with just working with that. So now come to the effect button here, FX up here. So you will have basic, stylized, artistic, photo. So I think what we're looking for is under stylized, we have glass. So you click glass under the gradient map. Can you see? Once you click glass, just like I did just now, you can then adjust the amount and the scale. So let's adjust the amount and see if we will get what we want. So basically you can see it is not working as we planned. Do you see? So cancel it and let's do this instead. That layer you duplicate. How do you duplicate? See this button next to done here? Tap on it, then copy. Then tap on it again, then press paste. So you are going to duplicate that layer and you press your check mark. Now what you are going to do is on that layer that you've duplicated, that layer, you then add the effect again, glass. Can you see? So now let's play around with the scale. Everything is just experimentation. You have to keep adjusting till you get what you want. This should work. Let's work with this. So basically I think the difference between this that I'm doing now was when I created the previous one, this object in the background was not close to each other and they were not, like, I positioned them differently to what I did just now. So let's just work with this, but this is the general idea. This is how I made that particular background. And I know this video is getting longer than expected, but this is the point. I want to show you everything to the end. So now that is done, you click on your done button up here and save. So after saving, it has not saved to your phone, it has only saved to the application. So what you do next is click on this button next to the plus button here, click on it, then you see save to gallery. Choose the format you want to save, and I always use PNG. Then click on the project you want to save, that project we worked on, then you press OK. So it is going to save to your gallery. Now let's get to designing. So now that we are done with the first part of the design, which is the background creation, what I did, I showed you my process, and by now I think you should be able to replicate what I did, or you've gotten the idea behind what I did. So the next thing is I'll show you how I place the information using Pixellab. So when you open Pixellab, you have something like this. Then the next thing you want to do, or the next thing I did, was I come straight down to this part, this panel down here. I clicked on the background button down here. Then I made use of the background I made as I added it to the background, since it has the canvas size I want to work with already. So I added it straight like that, and I have something like this. Delete the text we have here. So now I added it straight up to the background, period. So the next thing I then did was I brought in the information. We have this is the information we are working with: the headline, the supporting subtext, the information, and the call to action. And this is the subtext, which is more like the subheading or this supporting text or so like that. So that being said, let's start working on it. So the first thing you are going to do is I want you to copy this. You will have your information you want to work with, so just follow what I'm doing. So I want to work with the headline first. So I have this, your one-stop center for registration and academic support. So basically I'm going to be using, let me put the fonts I'm going to be using. We have Clash, Display, Regular, that. And before I work on the headline, let me put the shape, because let me show you the design first. If you see the design we are working with, the design has a shape. I placed the rectangle right at the center of this light background, this bright background. And the thinking behind this was, you know, when you're on a stage and there is like lights everywhere and you stand right in between the lights, it creates this depth. It creates depth, and the focus is going to be on what that black, because you are even going to be dark, it's going to create like a silhouette of your stance. So the attention is going to be, okay, what is there? Do you get? So that's like the basic idea behind what I did here. I just placed the rectangle right in the middle. So now I'll show you how I created this rectangle, because this is not a normal rectangle as you will meet in Pixellab. So now let's work on that. Lock this as well so you won't touch that. So now we have our rectangle. Adding that, you must know how to add the rectangle. Let me show you again. So now when you want to add a rectangle, you tap on the plus icon up here. We have a plus icon up here. So tap on that and you see shapes. Tap on shape, you have a rectangle as the default shape, the first default shape. So now working with that, we need the corner radius. If you see the design, it has a radius at the corner. So you adjust the radius. After adjusting it, you can scroll down to give it a black color, then increase the size and the length. So increase the size and the length. So after that, you can place it here like this. But to make sure you are placing it right at the center, you turn on your grid and turn on the magnet of the grid. So now it snaps to the middle. Do you get? So now that that's snapped, we want to create that slanted view, like it is leaning to the back. Do you get? So now tap on the rectangle, then come to your shape panel here, scroll down to you have perspective here, this perspective. So now you tap on perspective, then enable it. So now what you are going to do is you have to be careful because it's not going to snap to the grid. So to be precise, you have to note it yourself, like you take note of the slant edges yourself. So you can drag it to this part, this first grid here. Drag it to the first grid here. Do you get? Let the node meet the first grid, the intersection of the first grid here. Mine is not meeting. So yeah, meet it there. Then drag the other one also to meet the other grid there. So that's basically how I did it. So you have to gauge it yourself because it's the grid is not, the nodes are not going to snap to the grid. Do you get? So now, since that is done, you can tap on your check mark here and readjust. You can like increase the size and place it there. But one more thing I left out from the creation of this rectangle was when I was editing the shape, I added a stroke. You can keep the stroke size at 2 and the color, make a gradient color, because we want to make each element of this design, we want them to be responsive. Since what do I mean by responsive? Responsive in the sense that if an element is assumed to be standing in front of an emitted light, you get, then we should see reflection. There should be reflection of those lights around the element. So that's what I mean by responsive. So now that stroke that we're going to be adding is going to show the responsiveness of that element, which is this block, this rectangle, sorry. It will show that the rectangle is reflecting, like light is reflecting on this rectangle. So now I think I created a gradient using this color from the background, and I have something like this. But let me show you how I did it. So we have a plain shape like this. Sorry, let me make it of a plain color here. This, we will have something like this. So now let's pick, remember we have the white selected. So now pick a color from the background, pick the white color, fine. Then press OK. As for this dark one, we want one in the middle and one light on the end, because if you notice, let me select this. If you notice, the block will be standing right in the middle of this, and light is reflecting from the left hand side and the right hand side, but on top there is no light reflection. So we'll have light, then dark in the middle. So that's basically what I want to achieve. We have light here, then you can like adjust it to something like this, and this is how it should respond. So the dark part here is very small, and this is what I'm saying. Let me select this purple color, this purple light color. So as you can see, the dark part is small. This is what I'm saying. Can you see? Let me increase the size of the stroke. Can you see? It's actually okay though, but let me do some little adjustment. Press the plus button, increase that plus button to the left like this. Want this to be light a little. So this is basically how you play around with gradients. You get to adjust your taste and do something nice. That's basically what design is all about, experimentation, but you have to know the basics of what you want. So that's basically it. I have my gradient, and if you see, we have light reflecting the stroke on this side. Let me zoom in. You see the stroke here is light, which shows that okay, light is reflecting from this side, and we have another stroke here. Can you see? So it is responsive. I've done it. I've designed it to be responsive. So basically, you can then select and readjust your size to your suitable taste, and we have something like this. I'm good with that. So lock and move it back. So let's continue with the headline. So as for the headline, I want something like this. So let's make it fast and snappy because of the length of the video. So now, if you see what I did here, I ended up making registration and academic support stand out more, and the reason why I made that stand out more is because it is what the business is all about. This flyer I created for them was to promote their registration and academic support part of their business. You get? So now I wanted that to stand out. When you read the flyer at the first glance, it would be the first thing you see, and you would decide whether you want to work with the business or not. So let's create that for ourselves. Duplicate it, then you tap on it to edit. So delete everything you have from to your, delete that, and you will be left with registration and academic support. So now what you are going to do is to come to your text here and change it to classic display bold. Make it bold, make it bigger, then place academic support below it. Can you see? So now that is done, we need a color for it, and I made use of this gradient color. I made use of this gradient color. So this is basically how I did it. You can see 4 color. So take note of it. You can, while watching, you can screenshot, then replicate this for yourself. You see how the line is positioned. Then you can basically just use your color picker, screenshot, get it to your phone, use your color picker to pick each color and place them just the way they are, and you will get the same thing for yourself. So now that is done, let's place this right in the center here and lock it. Then bring the other headline that we're working with initially, and let's edit. Since we have registration and academic support all done, delete that, and we'll have your one step will be on top. Reduce the size to 20, centralize it, and adjust the line height. And also for the registration and academic support, let's adjust the line height as well. Scroll to this part and you see line spacing. Reduce it. You can reduce it to -9. So that is that, and this is okay. Can have it come down a little, and that is that for that. So that's basically how I did it. So as for the background, I just realized why we're having something different to what I did before as well. It is the layer that we added white color is supposed to be below the colored layer, the purplish kind of color layer that we added on top. Do you get, like, we have our background, we have the elements we added, the two elements, then we added the first layer of color. So that layer of color is to come, the white color is to be under that layer. So it's going to give us this purplish background, this purplish background I have on the one I initially did. Do you get? So take note of that and make those corrections when you're working with it. I just remembered it and I cannot go back to correcting that anymore. But this video is just to make you understand the basic of the idea behind what I did. Do you get? So I think that is done. So now for the next part, I think at this point I'm going to be speeding up what I did to get to the next necessary step you need to know. Now that we've placed the necessary informations, remaining call to action. So what I did was bring in the shape, and I played a little with the corner radius and I placed it right down below this part. So after placing that like that, I then tick the check mark and added that. Then as for the call to action, I took the body text, duplicated what I had here because I'm using the same font family, change the color to black because we are working on a white space here, and I placed the call to action CTA. They call it call to action, for short CTA. Send a message to us to get started. Then you need something they will use to contact you, like your phone number, your WhatsApp number. And here I'll be adding my phone number here, 09061206404, should in case you want to contact me. And increase that number to a bolder text because that is what you want them to notice down there. So basically, this is how I came up with the design. So, and if you have the business have a logo, you can simply add a logo on top there. So I'm going to be adding my own logo, which is DWO dot color white. So basically, the font will change to classic bold. So, and you might be wondering, how do I know where the logo is going to start from? Why can't I place it right on top here? You can't place it on top because you have to add borders around your design, which And for this, set your, what I do is I basically just tap on this panel, this button right beside the snapping option that we've already enabled. Tap on it, then you see this recycle or something like that. Tap on it and you type, I work with 20 by 20, 20 lines on the horizontal, 20 lines on the vertical. So you can see that the first line we have, shift your element right to that place. It can sit on the second line. Let's make it sit on the second line. Then as for your call to action, click on both the send us a message and the number, and you see this button down here. Tap on it, then you see this. It gives you the option to move the two elements together. So you can then shift that, adjust it, and place it there. So basically, this is how I came up with the design. Do you get? So now that is done, here's the final part. You will take this design and you go back to Sketchbook, because the work of Sketchbook is not done. You take this design, go back to Sketchbook. Now, let's save. That's how I created the design. And if you want to create designs that don't look like an amateur design using your phone, this is the sacrifice it takes. So now that that is done, let's go back to Sketchbook. We are back in Sketchbook. So you tap on what you did, the background you designed initially. Tap on that. So now when you tap on that, we want to bring in the design we just worked on, finish. But mind you, on your layers panel here, we want to place the design right below this element. So tap on that element and you tap on this to bring in, to import image. Import image, tap on this here, this one next to your camera. Tap on that, then you see this and you tap on your design. It brings you the design straight up. So now you might be wondering why is it white and stuff like that. It is because of this white layer here. And then you have this, oh, I made one mistake, or I didn't add the necessary elements. If you remember, I added some balls and stuff like that. So let me show you how I added the light effect for those balls, because the lights don't have it. I'm going to skip that part, but note it was in Pixellab I added those balls in the design. So we have something like this. Yeah, let's make it of this. So now we have, this was the design I did initially, this, but this is the design we made now. And the reason why I'm using this, I want to explain how I took a plain object like this and I brought in that light effect on the object, on the object. So now that we brought our elements into something like this, I will then turn off, for this white panel here, the one with the white light, we don't need that. Bring it down below it and turn it off, turn off the visibility. So the next thing you're going to do now is you are going to leave this colored panel there, reduce the opacity, reduce it to 60. Now come to your brush, the brush we used earlier, the flow airbrush. Then on top of the image, you create a new layer and you turn the blend mode to soft glow. So now what you are going to do now is come to each of the objects on your design. Like, remember, this is for the sake of, what I'm doing is for the sake of responsiveness. We want everything to be responsive. When your object is sitting so close to light, or when you have an object placed close to light, what happens? You have the reflection, the intensity of the reflection to be very, very high. So, and since this ball is very close to this light, we want to show the intensity. So now we are going to reduce it, then we are going to shade this base like this. Can you see? Can you see? We're going to shade that base like that. Can you see? Now it's making sense. Then as for the cap, the reflection can be in different pattern, but what I did was I shaded the edge of the cap like this. After shading, the reflection is going to be lighter at this edge here because it's not close, but here it's going to be, the intensity is going to be high. Do you get? So now, I know the video is already long already, but mind you, like I said, I'm trying to show you the full process of what I did and how I came up with the design. So now that is done, you can like just rub soft on top here. Can you see? So now that is done. The same thing for this side as well. Reduce it, then rub it soft. So that's basically how I came up with that. You can reduce this as well, a little, reduce it a little. So you have something like this. But remember, in our Pixellab, we did not add those balls, those cap and stuff like that. So the essence of those ball and that cap is to tell you what the flyer is about. They call something no, they don't call something anything, but the image, the necessary, the importance of the images you add in your design is to support your message. Do you get? So those balls and the cap were added to support the message. And if you see, the headline says your one-stop center for registration and academic support. And the service is CAC registration, affidavit processing, online registration, NIN, and student training and academic support. So the cap is telling us that they help students succeed. The ball, that green ball, is telling us about the CAC registration, and the NIMC ball is telling you about the NIN registration process and stuff like that. So the image I added is to support the message I'm trying to pass using this flyer. So that's basically it. So whatever, when you are recreating this, note that, and when you are creating a flyer for yourself or for somebody, whatever image you are adding, you can just add any image anyhow. You have to add an image that supports, that reinforce or supports your message. Do you get? So now that is done, you then, the same way we did earlier, you zoom in and you save your design. Once you zoom in, then you tap here and you export. Do you get me? So now let's move to the final part. So for the final part, we're going to be making use of Snapseed to add the last finishing touch, like I said earlier. So now we tap on the plus icon to bring in our image. Let's bring in our image. So now that the image is here, we want to add some finishing touch. So now watch what I'm doing and do the same. Details. Details is necessary to make your design pop more, but you can't do it too much, so it won't spoil your design. Do you get? See, it's not good this way. It is too, the details are too sharp, and that's not what we want. We want the details to be subtle, like small. It's not too much. It must not be too much. So now I'm keeping it at, I could keep it at 10, but let's make it 5. Then as for the sharpening can go up to 30. You can make it 50 as well, but it's to make your information pop and come out well. But as for the structure, you have to be careful. It can disfigure your design, so you have to make it, you have to make the value small, a little. So now check that. Then you come to, this is something I, almost for my designs I do them. So I add green, but you have to reduce the style strength to 0 for the green. Or you can make it 10, a low insignificant value, 10. Then you come to the green and you can make it 25, something insignificant as well, or make it 10. So now that is done, you are done with your design. Do you get? Then you just export, and that is all. That's basically how I came up with the design. That's what I did, and that was the idea. Do you get? And I hope with this video you can do the same for yourself, or you've gotten the idea behind the design and you can take the idea and use it to create something good and something awesome as well. So if you found this video helpful, do well to like, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.